You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Wednesday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
Man, I've been watching so many murder mystery kind of type shows and documentaries lately. I went into a rabbit hole yesterday, watched that whole Aaron Hernandez thing that came out a few years ago.
Oh, the New England Patriots tight end that murdered somebody, right?
Yeah,
and
two people. Well, only got charged with the one, I guess.
Right,
but
yeah, and then didn't he later did to himself
he unalived himself,
in prison. Yeah.
It's an intense documentary. I mean, worth the watch if you're a football fan or you're into that kind of stuff.
Sure, if you like the true crime stuff.
But I always find myself laughing at these things and not for all the wrong reasons.
That's dark, okay.
But they go through the court cases and they're talking about the first dude that he murdered. I guess he used to just roll up a bunch of blunts and joints for Aaron Hernandez all the time.
Okay.
And there's one part in the Netflix documentary where there's a lawyer and he's like, they used to refer to him as the blunt master, if you will. And he calls him the blunt master 5 or 6 times. It's just so funny hearing the whitest dude possible in a court of law.
The dude with the glasses from The Simpsons. Your Honor, we would like to exhibit A, the blunt master.
It'd be if I was let's put on some Snoop D-O double G.
It's I just, I don't want to say, but I don't think you can say these words. I don't think these are meant for you.
I just think that if you're going to commit a crime, you should at least make up a good nickname so that they have to say it in court.
Just so that the ridiculous details have to get said by judges and lawyers and jurors.
I need people to start referring to me as Sticky Fingers or something. So if I ever get into trouble, they have to refer to me as that in court.
Also, when you think about even in the States, news coverage of court cases is a lot more open than it is here. News crews can go into courtrooms in the States. Where are all the clips of the news reporters from that era reporting on the blunt master?
Yeah.
Where is my, hair and teeth 6 o'clock TV news anchor going, today we learned about the blunt master in the Aaron Hernandez trial?
Well, there's some people that are sitting there that are being you think you're the blunt master? Dude, Snoop Dogg's literally got a guy that he pays to do it.
That's right. He's got a guy on the payroll. And now that guy's got to be nervous because what happens if Snoop Dogg turns Aaron Hernandez?
I feel if I was the other lawyer, I'd be do we have one of said blunts that we can examine?
Can you show me his work before assigning him such a significant title?
Show me the blunt facts.
Show me your work.
If you're planning on committing any crimes, get yourself a cool-ass nickname so they at least have to say it in court.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Before you got in here, I was reading this interesting article that apparently a few years ago, they were trying to make a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover movie. Have you ever heard about that?
No. I mean, I see how it could fit. Men in Black is one of those franchises that could realistically kind of get dropped into any other movie, with just revealing that aliens are real in that universe.
It's kind of rad what they were going to do. Basically, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, the Jump Street guys, were going to be moving up the ranks.
Oh, they were going to be considered for Men in Black status?
Kind of like how Will Smith in the first one does the training stuff.
That's right. I forgot he was NYPD at the beginning of the movie, right?
And then it just ended up getting shelved after a couple of years, and they put out that crappy Men in Black they did a few years ago with the dude that plays Thor. What's his name?
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Will Smith's celebrity status has never been hotter than these last couple of years, so there's still hope, right?
I think that would have been a hilarious movie. And I mean, I love when they do those crossover movies. Hell, they just did the Deadpool Wolverine thing. That's doing well.
It was massive. Absolute huge.
Alien versus Predator was sick.
Yeah.
Freddy versus Jason was pretty rad.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, to say nothing of the ultimate crossover artist, Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
Scooby-Doo's been in everything.
Oh, my God. I mean, as a kid, they do crossovers with wrestlers. I swear they had an episode with Kiss one time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you nailed it right off the bat. Scooby-Doo WrestleMania is obviously the only crossover that ever mattered. Yeah. But, I mean, Scooby-Doo, they did a show with Batman. There was a Scooby-Doo Ninja Turtles, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you could do so much, honestly, with... Dude... Scooby-Doo Knives Out movie? detectives just solving a crime together?
Yeah. Oh, what's that actor's name? The guy who plays Bond.
I'm blanking on it too now.
I can't remember his name, which sucks. But like, he has that really like interesting accent in Knives Out.
Yeah. He's got like that foghorn leghorn kind of accent. Yeah.
Imagine him giving some big detective speech, and the whole time Scoob and Shaggy are just like sitting there eating sandwiches.
Yeah. Daniel Craig. That's who it is. Yeah.
Daniel Craig would be perfect.
You could do Scooby-Doo, Die Hard kind of combo there. Maybe even like
John McClane would get sick of Shaggy's nonsense real fast. As Bruce Willis dives out the window holding onto the fire hose. Shaggy.
Let's go up to the roof, have a little drink. Take any sort of cop movie and just add Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine into it.
Honestly, yeah. What was the Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg one?
The other guys. Yeah.
Scooby and Shaggy are standing down on the sidewalk when The Rock and Sam Jackson jump off the building.
Scooby-Doo and the Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you a Doobie from the Doobie family?
He's a Randable.
I mean, even like just TV like crossovers, they don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Like you could do a 6 Scooby-Doo Criminal Minds episode.
Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are just walking to the Mystery Machine when all you hear boom, boom.
Oh, that'd be Law and Order.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to figure out, wait, which Law and Order are we on?
I just would love a scene where Ice-T is trying to do one of those serious things where he's like, I can't believe they do that to a kid. Row.
It takes all the air out of the room to have Scooby-Doo in a serious scene in Law and Order.
Fast and the Furious Scooby-Doo. They're the detectives that's trying to take down Toretto and them.
Yeah. And then at the end, the Mystery Machine is just juiced up with NOS.
That's how they finish it off. It's just a race of the Mystery Machine versus that Trans Am.
It jumps in front of the train.
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Anyway, here's a Scooby snack.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We're talking about movie crossovers right now, and we got hung up on the whole Scooby-Doo thing.
Well, he's been in everything.
A lot of people were texting in some great crossover ideas for Scooby-Doo. We got Justice on the phone. What's yours, man?
Scooby-Doo and Saw.
Now, wait, is Scooby-Doo trapped in the room, or is he with Jigsaw?
Well, I think it'd be more funny if it turns out that Velma would be Jigsaw at the end of it, because she's always getting dealt the shit sandwich.
She's lost her glasses too many times, and she's finally snapped.
She always gets sent off alone, too, the whole time. It's like, oh, yeah, we'll all split up, except for you, Velma. You go over there.
I was going to say, it would make sense, actually, if it was Fred and Daphne. They're the ones that are piecing off together.
Yeah.
They could be setting the traps up the whole time.
That's true, actually. I could see that.
Everyone thought that they were doing, a little hanky-panky.
Right.
They were just up to some real no-good.
Turns out they were murdering.
Jeez. That'd be awesome. I'd watch it.
So would I, man.
Absolutely.
So would I. And I mean, honestly, thinking about like a Saw crossover, I feel like there's tons of stuff that you could do. What if it was like the Santa Claus and Saw comboed together?
Jesus.
And you
hit me with your pitch. Let's hear it.
You find out that Tim Allen is actually Jigsaw this whole time, and it's been the naughty boys and girls,
right?
Because that's all the Jigsaw does is he gets naughty boys and girls and tries to teach them to have respect for life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What if it was Saw and Inspector Gadget? He just keeps developing all these traps, but has no idea about all the things that Gadget can do.
Yeah. It's all just a mistake. Yeah. Matthew Broderick in Saw would be awesome.
Eric texted in one of your favorite movies of all time, Jaws. Cross it over with Baywatch.
Okay.
Says anything to watch David Hasselhoff get eaten by a shark.
I'd watch the hell out of that. I mean, it's basically still just Jaws, just with more slow motion shots on the beach.
Essentially, yeah.
I could get behind that.
More jogging.
I could get behind that.
What about a crossover between, this is kind of like TV and movies, but like take Jay and Silent Bob. have them stop by Sunnyvale for a little bit, visit the Trailer Park Boys.
Ooh, yeah, that
Jay
could
and
work.
Silent Bob buy a trailer.
Dude, what about a Harold and Kumar go to the trailer park?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
That would be dope. Ooh, big monster movies. Godzilla and that Cloverfield monster from a few years, like a long time ago.
That would actually be pretty dope.
Just like it's basically Cloverfield with the whole like hidden found footage or whatever. You never really get a good look at the monster, and then Godzilla shows up, and now it's a fight.
I think that you could do a really sick movie of. You ever seen Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner?
If you build it, they will come.
right?
Yeah.
What if you combine the universe of The Conjuring with Field of Dreams? you could do that with basically any kind of like humble, soft, gentle ghost movie.
Yeah.
And then combine it with those people from The Conjuring that go in and try and fight spirits off.
Right. No, imagine
What's that Patrick Swayze movie?
Ghost with the pottery scene.
Yeah, it turns out it's not as romantic as you thought.
I think I just had this thought, but now I'm thinking this might have actually been a like Family Guy cutaway reference at some point. But Ghost and Ghostbusters. Patrick Swayze.
That is a Family Guy thing.
But same with Field of Dreams. All these old baseball players come walking out of the field, and all of a sudden Dan Aykroyd's like, "Get 'em, boys!"
I'm not gonna lie, that whole family was way too cool with the dad seeing ghosts.
Right? He's having a full-on.
He quit his job.
He's having a full-on psychotic break / midlife crisis, and they're just like, we just need to be there for him.
We need
now.
a Field of Dreams, Ghostbusters, Conjuring collab. It'll be the greatest movie of all time, I tell you, man.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Last weekend was the gathering of the Juggalos in Ohio.
I missed it again.
Do you know what? I have wanted to go. It does seem like it would be a wild-ass time.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if I'd stick around the whole weekend, but have you seen the video of the lady that was spreading her husband's ashes around the gathering?
No, I mean, I've heard a lot of that. Like, it is very much, if you're in that fan base, it is a big thing. So I've heard of people spreading ashes, but I haven't seen a video. No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play this clip, and then I need you to describe what you're watching to
What
the
does
people.
this woman's shirt say?
Don't read that.
Okay.
An actual replication of my husband's penis
Whoa!
with his ashes in it that I have slowly been spreading around the gathering, and he's here.
All right, describe
How
to the
is
people what you just watched.
Well, I mean, she said it. It's a replication. It's a toy. It's an adult.
A big one.
I mean, kudos to her husband.
It's probably like 7 inches filled with ashes.
Yeah. Now, when she says she's using that to spread the ashes around, like, do they come out like a salt shaker?
Rewatch the video
It's an
here.
actual replication of my husband's penis
Yeah.
with his ashes in it.
See when she shakes it
that I
there?
have slowly
Yeah.
been
It's
spreading
coming
around
out the
gathering,
tip.
It's like a magic wand.
Yeah.
He's here.
She's just walking around. Well, she's not walking around. That's a rascal scooter, but she's just blessing the grounds.
That is an interesting way to do it. But I respect the creativity, man. I mean, it's better than just throwing them in the water. She's paying mad respects to her husband, also
Right.
giving him huge props with what she's using for it. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. She wanted something to remember him by, and that's something she'll never forget, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And then, the creativity. Imagine being the person tasked with making that. Someone came to this artisan, this craftsman, and was like, I would like you to make this device. And he was just like, all right, let's get to work. And it looks like fine work to me.
You got to be careful you don't put that thing down. I mean, I know a lot of people are like barbecuing and grilling at this festival. Like, you could confuse that thing for a pepper shaker. If you guys want to see it for yourself, text ashes to 762-555 or check
Gives
the
it a real
podcast links.
smoky flavor.
Oh my God.
It's mesquite.
It is one of the most creative ways I've ever seen that done before. I mean, you could probably do a lot of cool stuff with your ashes. I know people like pack them into bullets, fire them off, whatever.
Yeah. There's a whole market to like putting your ashes into a tree so that like it kind of grows into the tree.
With the shooting thing, do you think you could make like a disc? And so like someone could like fire and then like
Oh,
shoot
like
the-
skeet shooting.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. I mean, just as a similar idea, kind of, one of my favorite things, I've actually considered this for when I pass, because I want to be cremated, is that they can take your ashes and essentially press them into a record, into a vinyl.
I've seen that before, yeah.
Right. So if you can press it into the shape of a working, usable vinyl record, almost certainly you could compact the ashes into a clay pigeon to be shot down over a field.
I think what I would want to do, honestly, is put my ashes inside a golf ball, just launch me into the forest.
Yeah.
That's where I belong. Either that, or if you could take me to the Masters, and then just somehow like throw me in the drop, just like toss me in the water there.
You know, you would probably be asked to leave, but you'd probably be able to pull that off. You would probably be able to do that.
It's where I belong. It's where I am 90% of the time on the golf course.
Yo, you really want to get somebody. You go there and you got to make like a video and stuff like that. Hope that you go viral explaining like, you know, my significant other passed away and their ashes have been turned into this golf ball, and all I'm asking is for one person at the Masters to drive this golf ball for the memory of my loved one. But it's one of those joke golf balls that explodes when you hit it. And then there's just a cloud of what used to be you all over the golfer, the gallery.
I am Augusta now.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We were talking about the gathering of the Juggalos, and I guess not everybody knows what a Juggalo is.
No, Bobby texted in and said, is that the gathering of the male prostitutes or a gathering of people who juggle?
So,
none of the above, unfortunately.
I'm trying to think of how to describe a Juggalo, which first off, a Juggalo is a fan of Insane Clown Posse.
Yes.
But a Juggalo itself, they're more of like a lifestyle, I guess you could say, right?
Right. Well, yeah. So Insane Clown Posse, for those that don't know, a pair of white rappers from Detroit who wear white face paint with black sort of clown...
They dress like clowns, yeah.
Yeah, makeup on top. So the first thing, if you're talking about a Juggalo, is it's going to be someone who's a fan of that band and very likely, but not always, has black and white face paint on.
Let me say this. If you crossed Marilyn Manson with like a Lil Wayne, maybe poured a container of bleach and some cigarettes, that would be a Juggalo.
Paul Malls, for sure.
Yeah. They're kind of like goths, but the opposite in a sense.
It's like if someone who loved sports but wasn't particularly athletic decided to try out an emo lifestyle.
Yeah, and they do get made fun of a lot. They're like a running joke, but they're a huge community, and they've kind of got that Olive Garden mentality, like when you're there, you're family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Calling it Olive Garden mentality is perfect. That's absolutely what it is, because like you said, they get dunked on a lot because they love this one specific kind of joke music group, and I say that as someone who bought no less than 5 of their albums in high school.
Whoop whoop.
But like, they almost have to become their own insular community because it's one of those things like if you're in it, you get it. And if you're not in it, it's not easy to understand.
You probably do know a Juggalo in your life. I'd say like a Juggalo is like... It's like that cousin that we all have that you're like, you think he's an outcast. They're maybe a little bit shady, but they're a decent person.
Generally, absolutely.
Yeah.
Usually very nice people. It's kind of like the same when we talk about metalheads. Yes, there are some outliers that like use the music as an excuse to be like kind of crappy people.
Yeah.
But for the most part, some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And like you were saying, it's like some of them are in their real lives very outcast. But I also think Juggalos are a lot like people in Canada before weed was legalized. Like, you'd be shocked to find out that your accountant goes home and praises the great Malenko sort of thing.
Yeah. Like, it could be the kind of person that you, like, see in an alleyway at 2 a.m. and you're like, I don't want to talk to them. But they're also the same person that if your car was stranded, they'd be like, do you need some help?
Right. Do you need a lift? Yeah.
They're basically, you know what? I think the best way to put it is they're basically like deadheads, but, like, turned up to 11.
Right. Much more...
Take out the chill.
Yeah, much more energetic, much more aggressive, but not always in a bad way.
Add some face paint to a deadhead, put them in a XXL shirt with some baggy pants.
Yes.
And have them drinking a Faygo because they love that for some reason.
I was going to say, whether you know what Faygo is or not, you do have to add in dollar store soda to this whole thing because that is a key part of the equation for whatever reason.
And they love saying whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop!
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Girlfriend and I were looking at different hair places in the city. Before you make a joke, not for me. I shave my head at home.
Well, I was also going to say, how dare you? My girlfriend's a hairdresser.
Yeah, but your girlfriend is also a wildly successful hairdresser and not the kind of person you can usually get in same day with because she's booked so far in advance.
Fair enough, but I mean, I got the hookup, dude.
I don't want to be that friend. You know
I'm
how
trying
that
to
goes?
pay a mortgage. What do you mean? Be that guy. Be that. I take it as disrespect.
Anyway, we were looking at places, and one of the things that I love about barbershops and salons is that a lot more nowadays, the names are getting more and more creative for these places.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's been a lot of fun just Googling, not only here in the city, but even just going out like through the province. Like I went down a rabbit hole of cool like barbershop names and stuff.
One of my favorite ones in Kingston, Hair of the Dog, which is a great pun as well. I know they serve beer and, of course, a great Nazareth song as well.
Right, or even to your girlfriend's credit, Diabolical, which does a lot of hair color. Like, love great names. One of the things we specialize on this show is coming up with great pun names for things. I thought we could try rattle off. So maybe there's an aspiring barber or hairdresser out there looking to start their own shop. We could just come up with some names that they could be free to use to start their own businesses.
All right, I like that.
I'll start. I think if you've got maybe two ladies looking to work together who are opening their own shop, you just call it Scissor Sisters.
But I don't think you'd get away with that
There's
one.
a band!
Maybe you could do like Scissors and Clippers. You could do Mariah Harry.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Heart-shaped locks.
Yeah. Harry Manilow.
Wiggy Pop.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like that one.
Suicide Blonde, but then you'd only have to specialize, I guess, in like highlights and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be a great place if you did a lot of color jobs. As a Sum 41 fan, you could call it Fat Clip.
Yeah.
If you did just quick buzzes and stuff.
Fat Clippers.
Yeah.
What about Cut Stevens?
Ooh, that's a good one. I really like that one. Head Zeppelin.
Head Zeppelin works. I think you could do a lot of stuff with Trim. You just take anyone with like Jim or Tim in the name, like Trim McGraw.
Trim McGraw is really good.
Trim Morrison could work too.
Also, here for nothing but a good trim.
Oh. Trimmer Eat Hair?
Is that Jimmy Eat World?
Yeah. Trimmer Eat World. Trimmy Hendrix, dude.
Trimmy Hendrix is a solid one. The Boss is Cutting. A little Arkells.
Yeah.
Wanted Head or Alive.
Wanted Head, Grateful Head. I've seen that before. Yeah.
Or if you're a big fan of The Boss, Shorn in the USA.
Shorn in the USA. You got a lot of options there, actually.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Have you seen the Deadpool movie yet? Deadpool and Wolverine?
No, Courtney saw it the other day. She said it was good, though.
Very good. Went and saw it last week, and congratulations to them. It have hit the $1 billion mark, worldwide revenue, worldwide box office. It is now the new highest grossing R-rated film of all time.
Oh, I didn't even know it was R-rated.
Yeah. Oh, it takes about...
Oh, yeah, Deadpool. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Takes about 5 minutes into the movie to see that it's deserving of its R rating, but it topped off that the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Oh, true.
Came out a few years ago as the new number one. And it just got me thinking about, like I walked out of there, everybody I saw that walked out of there, all the reviews I've seen from normal, regular people online, everybody's talking about how much fun they had at this movie, and it's the most excited I've seen people talk about a Marvel film since maybe that Avengers Endgame came out, however many years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, should we just start making all the superhero movies R-rated?
The thing is with R-rated movies is I think it's kind of dropped off a bit because with TikTok and everything, kids nowadays are so desensitized that
True.
It used to be a big deal to go to the movie theaters and see an R-rated movie.
Absolutely.
Versus you can just go on Twitter and see some wild stuff for free nowadays.
Dude, Twitter is more dangerous than going to an R-rated movie. You never know. You see someone die on Twitter.
Yeah.
At least this is fake.
I think they should just start rebooting, more older franchises, because that's all everything is now, is all reboots, prequels, sequels.
Right. We have to accept the tides, the trends, that new movies just are not getting made.
What if we got an R-rated Minions movie? They keep making endless amounts of these movies. They're torturing parents. The kids are annoying. The beep, 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 beep. I just think I just want to see him swear. That's it.
Well, I was going to say, I don't even think you'd necessarily have to go like the blood and guts R-rated route, but just like the way that Minions don't use actual words, what if just everything they said was a swear word, but it implied something else?
Yeah.
Their whole language was 3825.
Their whole movie is basically like that family reunion song by Blink-182.
Yeah, exactly. Although, I mean, with that, like, because it was Despicable Me.
Sorry, the sexual nature from a Minions movie would be... There's so many of them. It's just yellow everywhere.
Well, how are they procreating? How are there so many?
Exactly.
In the R-rated movie, we find out.
Exactly.
And then on the other side, because you have the supervillain, the Steve Carell kid, Gru. Imagine a like James Bond movie where it's R-rated and the supervillain can actually do some like heinous things to make him a villain. Like as it is now, all these villains in spy movies are just like, I'm going to steal a briefcase with a test tube full of a disease and release it into the government and all this. It's like, no, man, show me a guy actually like bombing a city. Like show me a guy
Jesus, man.
doing some actual things to make him a villain.
I get what you're saying, but you had such a weird look on your face. No one else can see it except for me.
I'm saying R-rated lets me take it from something that I'm like, we've seen this a million times into a new direction.
You could make a lot of kids' movies R-rated and they'd be so much better. What's that, what's that one that recently came out? Oh, Inside Out.
Oh, the one where it's like the voices and the emotions inside your head.
Yeah. It's teaching kids all about anxiety and depression, blah, 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 all that stuff. If that was R-rated...
Dude, pull back the Disney shine and show me what my emotions are really doing inside my head.
A lot more relatable for the anxiety, and the depression scenes would be way more darker.
Dude, imagine anger voiced by Lewis Black, but with an R-rated filter.
Yeah.
The things that man would say would be unhinged, and I would feel right at home.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I don't want any more Jurassic Park movies, but I think if the original just had been R-rated, imagine how gnarly that would have been.
Dude, yeah, like when the T-Rex goes to eat the guy off the porta potty.
Yeah.
If they had gone into a little bit more detail, like it would be that much more memorable.
Yeah, a lot more blood and guts everywhere, that's for sure.
Someone said an R-rated Power Rangers movie would be pretty sick.
Oh, okay.
All the like sword fighting and stuff like that, but in the shows, I don't know if you were too young.
Yeah.
It would be like explosion sounds and stuff, and like a guy would get hit with a sword and just kind of get knocked back.
Yeah.
No, give me full-on R-rated, people getting sliced up and crushed by all the fighting.
Also, the Pink Power Ranger was absolutely beautiful, so see what you could do with that, guys.
Well, on that, friend of the show, Marty, said an R-rated version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. First of all, what the judge does to all the tunes that he like murders in the movie, if you had an R rating, you could make it like much more like Saw-like.
Well, and we also learned how many people are turned on by Jessica Rabbit a few weeks ago.
That's just it, right? Jessica Rabbit, an R-rated movie, is going to change a few people's lives if you made that film.
Absolutely. Toy Story, a big one on the text line there, which is like, I mean, I guess the plot is just Andy's toys somehow end up in Mommy and Daddy's room? Is that what that is?
Andy's toys meet Andy's mom's toys, and they go on an adventure together.
Dude, but even if you don't want to go in like that kind of like gross route,
sure.
That whole, if just the original Toy Story, if you had taken that kid Sid and the stuff that he was doing to the toys,
lean into it a little bit more.
Oh my gosh.
You could have got to an R rating.
We all
knew
a creepy kid like that growing up, ripping the heads off of dolls and doing whatever to them. Like,
dude, someone said R-rated Shrek. I mean, just the language alone. For an ogre to just start dropping cusses left and right would have been perfect.
I feel like he would have just been racist.
Do you think so?
I don't know why I get that vibe from Shrek. I feel like if Shrek...
the PG rating was the only thing keeping him inclusive?
I just feel like Shrek... He wasn't quite fond of everyone at the beginning, you know? Like, he was secluded. He was a guy that lived in the forest by himself.
He'd be racist, but he'd be the racist guy that says, I'm not racist because I hate everyone equally.
Yeah.
He'd be that guy.
He'd be an all lives matter kind of guy.
Also feel like you'd get one hell of a scene between Donkey and that dragon with an R rating.
That's enough of that.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
we will not have a word of the day from Ed today because he's actually going into the hospital. So I was thinking, since Ed can't do it, and he's the biggest wordsmith I know,
right?
You would be the second smartest guy behind Ed that I know.
Yeah!
So if you could do it for us.
Ed's word of the day.
What's the word, Dalby?
Well, sure. The word of the day today is gadabout. A gadabout is a person who flits about in social activity as by going to many places and social events for pleasure, which basically means someone who goes out a lot.
Oh, okay. So maybe there's a girl or a guy that you've been talking to and you find that maybe their social lives are a little different. Forget about them. Because they don't care about you. Is that a bit of a stretch? Does that work?
A massive stretch, but also in the best possible way. If you find out that the person you've just started seeing is a bit too much of a gadabout for you, they're constantly going out to the bars and the clubs and stuff, forget about it.
Forget about them.
Lose that number and move on to somebody else more introverted like you.
I don't think there's a better way that you could use that, honestly.
Usually we try and come up with a bunch of these. I think we stamp it. Word of the day is gadabout. And if you don't like it, forget about it.
Forget about it. Gadabout. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.